It looks like I have Sixtus back on the line. Sixtus, how are you doing?
I can't say I'm fine, Black. It is sad news that has hit all of us.
Wow. Well, tell me about Alaji. You worked under him for how long?
Give or take 4 years.
Wow.
While a student at the University of Ghana, at the time I was actively engaged with Radio Progress NWA, but I found some time during school sessions to spend at Radio University. And I was always on behind the headlines. This was a show that he was personally handling. And through that, when I finished my first degree, went back to do my LLB, he gave me a show that was Labor Front. That was the name of the show. And Monkaila was the producer for that particular show. And he took me through, after every episode of the show, we would sit down, look at what went wrong, what went right. His interest was getting a labor-focused show because he said there was none even on the commercial radio and television stations. So this was his interest, to get us to start something that hopefully was going to be caught on. And so we worked on that for, I think, a year or two before I left him and joined CTFM. But Alaji was always the kind of mentor to every student who showed interest in the media and in broadcasting. He was this boss who was a friend to everybody. You would enter the studio, the office at Universe, and you see him not in his office, the manager's office, but in the common area with the students, with the presenters, with people trooping in. We're all chatting, discussing the future, discussing broadcasting, what is wrong, how we can remedy it. And so, though he was the boss, you saw a man who was down to earth, a man who was interested in grooming young people into seasoned broadcasters, professional broadcasters. I think that was a task that he took upon himself. And I think largely, if I mention names like Bernard Avila, if I mention names like Giovanni, then you know that the man had an impact. He made an impact. I'm sure that there are a lot of other names that you can also mention yourself.
Right.
But if you cast across the terrain, even in Accra here, there are lots of guys who are now running the media who cannot tell their stories without mentioning Alaji.
Alaji.
Yes.
Yes.
We can never tell our stories without mentioning Alaji.
Exactly that. So why do you think Alaji decided to remain with one radio station for about 30 years of his life?
I see passion. I see commitment to developing human resource in broadcasting, and I see the passion with which he did it. Black, at the time when I finished my LLB, and I stayed on with Universe, I wasn't on the allowance. Usually they would give us some allowance.
Right.
I wasn't on this allowance because I was no longer a student. And Alaji would give me money. I recall one of the incidents. I had gone out. In fact, I had walked from ARS. Those who know Ogojo. Yes, I had walked from ARS to Radio Universe.
Right.
To do my show because I didn't have money to take a car. And when I entered, that morning Alaji was already there. And he looked at me without saying a word. After the show, he gave me money. He said, take this one and hold yourself. It will be well. Small, we will go somewhere. These were his words. And I wasn't the only one who continuously experienced such generosity from Alaji. That there were times that he would have to use his money to help students out because maybe he saw something. He didn't want us to be discouraged. He wanted us to continue volunteering. Maybe, deep down, he's just that kind-hearted human being I still refer to him in the present tense. He was that, kind-hearted human being who wanted to put smiles on the faces of the people under him. So I am not surprised that, Alaji could have successfully run his own media empire. He could have done that. He had the capacity to do that. But he stayed at Radio Universe, a place that nobody respects, a place that lacks no resources. But he had that vision to train young people in radio and in television broadcasting. He started a TV studio at Radio Universe.
Oh, wow.
Those are two passionate things I can talk about him. One, the TV studios he started, and two, the broadcasting bill that he never could stop talking about. Yes, I honestly don't know what has become of the TV studio at Universe. I don't know whether it was ever completed. But these were things that he did to, number one, engineer the next generation of broadcasters who would uphold standards, who would uphold professionalism, who would conduct themselves and the business in a manner that brings respect to the industry.
Right.
This is what I think Alaji was about.
Interesting, yeah. And last year, the 6th of June 2025, there was a dinner in his honor, and so many people attended. Professor Ivan Ademensa, Emeritus Professor Kwesi Yanka, Professor Niboy Tego, and all of them were around. Did you get the opportunity to attend?
No, I was not in town at that time. I was just telling the boys in the room how we have done so many send-off parties for Alaji, but he never left. You know,
wow.
There were a number of times that the team will come together. Oh, they are doing a send-off for Alaji. Then we'll come together. They will do the send-off. But the next day you go and see him there. Such was his passion. He was going and never going. So the last one, the one that happened in March, that I missed. But I heard all about it, and I followed the conversations about it.
Right.
And I think it was one moment that drew the attention of the university community to who the man Alaji was.
Yes.
And I dare say the national capital to who the man Alaji was. That this was a man who had contributed his quota to broadcasting. This was a man who had contributed his quota to the development of the industry. If you don't even talk about any other thing, but just focus on his training of the human resources for the industry.
Right.
And Alaji, I'm sure that if we mention 10 of the people who passed through Alaji's hands, we can have very little to talk about them in terms of their substandardness.
This is 3FM.
So, I think that even though he had the capacity to move out, he stayed there just to ensure that the next generation of broadcasters would be raised with standards and professionalism, and that will be attested to by the kind of or the caliber of people you saw at that mass gathering in his honor.
Right.
So he is worth celebrating.
Thank you so much.
I'm not even sure that till now, as we speak, the broadcasting law is being passed. This was one thing that also he dedicated a lot of his life and energy to.
Thank you so much, Sixtus. We appreciate you. We thank you so much. Oh, my God. Well, Sixtus Ullo is our colleague here, and he passed through his hands. According to him, he was with him for about 4 solid years. You know, people like Giovanni all passed through his hands, you know. And, of course, Bola Ray, Shamima, and Bernard Avle, and all those people, you know, passed through his hands. Unfortunately, I don't remember ever meeting this man, but it is what it is. This is the Urban Blends voice of the patriot. And my brother, if he dedicated 30 years of his life doing radio, a PhD holder, Dr. Abubakar Sidick Ahmad. He spent 30 years of his life dedicating that to radio, mentoring youth coming up and encouraging them to move on. Look how many of them, even though went to study something else, like Bolare, he studied something else, but he still remained in the media. Giovanni studied something else, still in the media. Sixtus pursuing an LLB, my brother, my sister, and soon to come out as a full-blown lawyer, is still in the media, and many more. That can tell you that this man had a certain passion for radio, and I'm glad he lived to see World Radio Day. In fact, which happened just last week before he passed on today. He was a true man of radio. I suggest that a certain kind of statue or a bust is erected in front of the radio station for this man, because it looks like he was one pillar behind the radio station, in front of the radio station, and even on the wings of the radio station. He hosted a program that was most popular. In fact, in the days, even if Radio Universe was not known for anything at all, not its morning show, people called, sometimes insulted him, others called sometimes just to ridicule him and all that. But it was one of the hottest, if not the hottest, morning shows in Ghana. Oh, university radio no, university radio no, university radio no. My brother, it was so popular with other programs too. Music was there. It was a daring radio station. What other radio stations couldn't do, it did, because it was more like a student radio station. I didn't go to the University of Ghana, so I didn't pass through the hands of Alaji. But from afar, we saw the mentorship. Today, my brother, my sister, we celebrate him, looking at the fruits that he produced. He himself being a sacrificial lamb. How much was he paid at Radio Universe at all? How much? And here, how much was he paid? Can you say? But he stayed there with his PhD, pushed on. In fact, he only went away last year in retirement. Well, I have a next man. I have Dr. Clement Apaak on the line. Doc, how are you doing?
My good brother, I am well by the grace of God.
And right after this, I'm going to be playing Kareweh for you, you know.
Very well. You know, I requested that we do a remix.
Yes, yes.
So anytime you are ready, invite me to the studio.
Oh, you can give us your freestyle before we even start talking.
It is my favorite all-time song.
Wow.
I want us to do a remix that you can add the Bulsa to the list.
Certainly we will do that.
Because as the global president of the Dog Meat Eaters Association.
Oh, wow.
I was slighted when you didn't mention Bulsa.
My God.
And mention Dr. Apaak as the global president of
Namankere. Namankere. Now, which part of the dog is your favorite meat? Which part of the dog is your favorite in terms of the meat?
My favorite is the thigh.
The thigh. Dog
the
thigh. Wow.
So when you say Kapankere, you know, the song, I know the song like my head back.
Wow.
With all respect to Bukumbanku.
Interesting, Doc. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.
We have lost one of the stalwarts of radio, and I'm talking about Alhaji, Radio Universe.
Oh.
And yes, we lost him today. We lost him today. Did you ever encounter him?
What a shock.
Yes, he died today around 10:15 a.m.
Oh.
Did you
Wow.
ever encounter him?
Well, Black Rasta, let me first of all express my utter shock about this devastating news, and to indicate that the now late Radio Universe original manager, Alhaji Sidick, played a very important role in my life.
Wow.
Both as a student and then later on as somebody who also became the manager of Radio Universe.
Right.
Alaji Sidick was my senior by far. I remember when we reported for first year at the University of Ghana in 1992. Alaji Sidick and co were already in final year.
Wow.
And of course, as a then student in the Department of Communication, doing mass communication, he is one of the, I would say, founding personalities of Radio Universe.
Right.
Also, as young students who had an interest in media and journalism, Sidick gave us opportunities to participate as volunteers.
Right.
I remember myself, Dr. Kwame Baniako, who also became a manager of Radio Universe. And then I also remember our other colleague that we call Sankara. He is now with this
is 3FM.
I think Institute of Physicians and Surgeons or so.
Okay.
So we were volunteers for Radio Universe, and that is how our interest in media began.
Okay.
And I know some of his very innovative programs included a quiz program that was very popular at Radio Universe. And I remember as Vandals, one of our colleagues who was representing us at one of the quizzes performed so badly, we had to descend from Commonwealth Hall with the intent to kidnap him and give him some severe ponding because we felt he had not truly represented us as Vandals. It was Sidick who intervened, and his very calm nature was able to persuade us to let Otto Sribo, who himself today is a professor lecturer in the U.S., to let Otto Sribo avoid the needed funding. Later on, after many years of studying abroad, when I came back to the University of Ghana to take up a position as a lecturer, at that time, Alaji was in South Africa.
Wow.
Also completing his own PhD.
Okay.
So I was drafted to take over from Kwame Baniako, who had become the manager after Alaji had left.
Right.
But Kwame at the time also had some opportunities in the football arena. As Songo would say, the football people had given Kwame an opportunity, I think, to help manage Asante Kotoko also.
Right.
So when Kwame Baniako was leaving, the then Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Yanka, had become aware through my interview to become a lecturer at the Pro BC that I had a background in media, particularly radio, because I had continued to do radio and even to host a program on CJSF, which is the campus radio station of Simon Fraser University in British Columbia. So Prof then asked me whether I would be interested in managing Radio Universe, to which I agreed.
Wow.
So I was appointed as the manager of Radio Universe in 2010.
Wow.
As fate would have it, In 2012, after His Excellency John Dramani Mahama had taken over from the late Professor J.E.A. Mills and won, I was drafted to serve as a presidential staffer for John Dramani Mahama. So when I was transitioning back to politics and to go to the Flagstaff House, Alaji had also then completed his PhD and had come back. So Alaji then came again and took over from me.
Wow.
So as for Alaji, you know, we owe a lot, and it is not just me. I can give you a long list of some of the recognizable names in the media space in Ghana,
right,
who are products of Radio Universe, who passed through Alaji's tutelage. I mean, Shamima is there, the likes of DJ Black. You can talk about Bolare. There are so many. Caleb on this boy at TV3 who does the
yes, Giovanni
City, Caleb Koda, and the rest of them, and Channel 1. There are so many. I can't even count.
Yes.
So he's an institution.
Right.
It's an institution.
What would you remember?
It is unfortunate that he has passed on too soon. But at least I feel that indeed he played his role as a decent human being who was always willing to provide support, a helping hand, and to identify and help nature, young talent. And I think that he's gone to his maker, because he was a good man and he did a lot to give many of us opportunities that we would never have had.
Right. So, I mean, Dr. Apaak, what would you remember most fondly about him?
What I will remember most fondly about Alaji is his calm in the face of challenges. He was never one to panic. And that demeanor was very reassuring. And he wasn't somebody who would punish you for getting it wrong.
This is 3FM.
He would encourage you and let you know that you always had an opportunity to do better or to correct your wrong.
Right.
I will remember him for that. And that is the type of leadership that we need.
Yes, Dr. Apaak.
Leaders who would always give us a second chance. Always let us know that you may not have gotten it right, but that is not the end of the road.
This is 3FM.
You can get another opportunity. And he did that for most of us.
Thank you so much.
I am sure if you call Shamima, she would even have a lot more to say.
Right.
So the long list of others who have gone through the Radio Universe program and have experienced firsthand the nature of Alhaji Sidick. May his soul rest in perfect peace.
Amen. Thank you so much, Dr. Apaak, for talking to us.
Thank you, and greetings from Tamale.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, so that was Dr. Apaak talking to us about the wonderful Alaji of Radio Universe who passed on this morning. A few days after World Radio Day. He's the Deputy Minister of Education and also MP for Bulsa. And I have Dr. Edward Kareweh. He's a former Kareweh, former General Agriculture Workers Union, that's GAU Secretary. And he's here. He's going to be talking to us. Doc, how are you doing?
I'm fine, sir.
Wow, I'm happy to be talking to
fine,
you.
But very sad.
Yes. Alaji has passed on. And I heard that you did your PhD with him, right?
Not exactly that, because he was doing the PhD and I was doing my master's in South Africa at the University of Witwatersrand,
right,
Johannesburg.
Right.
Yeah. And that was around 2006 to 2008. Yeah, so Alaji, I got to know Alaji very well at the university.
Right.
And I can always remember when Alaji, when we were choosing our accommodation, we were fully funded. So there's a place called West Campus Village, which is meant for only postgraduate students.
Right.
Alaji decided to choose an accommodation that is close to the lake.
Wow.
That you'll be sitting and be watching the lake.
The lake.
Unfortunately, it turned out to be that that his house became more colder, very cold than any other place because of the lake.
The lake, yeah.
And then Alhaji will always be in his jacket, coat, and the rest. But you see, and as Ghanaian students, myself and Alaji were very, very close.
Wow.
And when he got to know I was in labor from the trade unions, we became closer.
Wow.
In fact, I used to cook for Alaji to come and eat.
Wow.
Because I was a very good cook.
Wow.
I know how to prepare jollof and the rest.
Wow.
And I became the Postgraduate Students Association on campus there.
Wow.
And Alhaji was very instrumental. We've always been together. And I must say that Alhaji helped to stabilize some of us, to give us critical thinking.
Wow.
He was doing the PhD. I left in 2008, returned to Ghana. He came back. And since then, I had been a regular resource person at his Radio Universe on labor issues.
Wow.
Anything about labor and economic development issues, Alhaji will call me either to come there in studio or speak to him on radio. And you see, it's difficult to get Alhaji's type of persons. His demeanor is so calming, very gentle. He hardly becomes angry, and he will talk softly, and yet he will make his point. So we have been like that until his demise. And whenever I am going home, I live at Adenta, and I pass through the campus and then call him. Then we meet and we chat. So this is the person that today, for me, is so painful for him to leave us so young. And I just don't know whether we can get a replacement for him.
Were you aware that he wasn't well? Did you ever know that he was battling any sickness?
Yeah, I knew that. But I knew that even long ago, so it's not today. I knew about it. And because it's on radio, I can't say some of the things. But then I knew that. But he became well, and then finally it came to this state again. Just still cannot believe that Alhaji can die and leave us. I just cannot believe that. So that is how I know Alhaji, and indeed my condolences to his wife and the family, and then we just cannot but to pray for God to take his soul and then restore it in peace.
Yes. I mean, this is very memorable. Very, 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 very. Now, away from Alaji, I'm sure you have heard about some of our Ghanaian people, tomato sellers who went to Burkina Faso to buy tomatoes and were shot by terrorists. Why are we still, going to Burkina Faso for tomatoes?
Well, in fact, it's just because they have, this story is linked to terrorists.
Yes.
But look, every year, I must say, that many Ghanaians pass on trying to ply that type of trade, going to Burkina Faso to buy tomatoes and come back. I come from Nevrungo, and around January December, January, I am there for Christmas, and I cross to the Burkina Faso, and I know the terrain well. But sometimes I get scared that I could be caught up in some of these terrorist things. But the fact is that as we go there, our the drivers and the helping hands, the women and some men will just sit on top of the cargo trucks. And you know that around December, January, it's very cold in the north. So with that serious harmattan and the cold, they sit in it. And sometimes the vehicles overturn, get accident, and kill them. I know when you get an accident with such a vehicle, all those who are on top of the vehicle will hardly survive. If they even survive, they will have broken limbs and so on. But it's a reflection of how we fail to do the things that we can do better. There's no way out. Burkina Faso should be the country to produce enough tomatoes and supply Ghana. But here is the case. We have all the resources. We have all a better climatic environment, conditions, rain, lands, and so on. That just like we have mismanaged everything, we have allowed Burkina Faso to overtake us, and then we continue to buy tomatoes from Burkina Faso. So, of course, I mean, these problems would not have reached these innocent souls if they were in Ghana and applied their trade in Ghana.
What would be the way forward, Dr. Kareweh?
Hello?
What would be the way forward?
Well, let me say that I'm not a doctor. I'm a lawyer now, myself, and then Sixtus. We now apply our legal trade. So
Thank you.
I am a unionist, a comrade, of course.
All right. Lawyer Kareweh, thank you so much for putting it on record. All right. So I was just asking you what the way forward should be.
Oh, it's just simple. The way forward is this. You know, if you take tomatoes, the per capita consumption of tomatoes goes up every year because of population increase and so on. And you can hardly eat a meal where you will not find tomatoes in that particular meal. So we cannot do without tomatoes. So we just need to, invest in its production and processing.
This
in fact,
is
much of it
3FM.
has to do with the processing. Because I myself was a tomato farmer, and I can tell you that at my early years, I nearly committed suicide because I ran almost a total loss.
Wow.
Because when you harvest the tomatoes and there is no market for it, it will all get rotten, and you will not recover anything at all.
Right.
So what we need to do is to really process the tomatoes,
Right.
and then allow the farmers to produce, and then we'll process. And that is what I think that I believe I heard since the news that His Excellency the President went somewhere there and he was talking about how to help them, or the chiefs and people of the northern part were asking him to bring back Ullo tomato factory.
Right.
Or in other words, build some factories to process the tomatoes
Exactly.
in Ghana. That is the way forward.
Yes. Yes. That tomato factory, the Palogu tomato factory. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, Mr. Edward Kareweh, I want to thank you so much. But you are from Navrongo, right? So you eat dog meat, right?
Oh, mother, look. Let me tell you on. We call it documents. We don't call it dog meat. We call it documents.
Dog meat. Which is your favorite part of the dog?
Charlie. Mother, where you get the ties?
The tie. Oh, wow.
Charlie.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you, my brother.